A hot breakfast that tastes great and helps you keep feeling fuller longer? Must be Kodiak. Grab protein-packed whole grain flapjacks and oatmeal. Get 20% off now through March 31st on KodiakCakes.com/Kodiak Breakfast and use code Kodiak Breakfast 20.
Gambling can be fun.
Here we go.
Kind of like skydiving. The thrill, the excitement. But be careful, or gambling will start to feel like skydiving without a parachute. For tips that will help keep you out of harm's way, go to don'tregretthebet.org. A message from the Michigan Gaming Control Board. Have a gambling problem? Call the Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117.
Nothing makes sense. Down is up, white is black, and I'm so confused about everything.
Everybody except for the bride's parents loved it because there were a few self-pleasure jokes.
Of course, any good best man speech. It's got a few beat-offs. I thought that maybe next week you could give me Fast 5 marriage pointers from an expert. I mean, you've been married upwards of, 2 years?
I got married in May of 2015, so we're staring down 2 years. We round up.
It's way up.
Make a masturbation joke. Do it. Once. Once tell a dildo story.
Yeah, come on.
I beg of you, one dildo story is not bad. Not bad. You can get away with one.
I swear, I wake up every Tuesday morning with this little piano jam in my head, just knowing that it's Steve and Kyle podcast day.
Right. By the way, you can take that little pointer, Steve, right to the radio show. One masturbation or dildo story is okay. Anything more than that, you're going to be in violation of the FCC.
Right. It's a little excessive. Good thing we don't have the FCC to worry about here on the Steve and Kyle podcast.
Right. If we happen to have a week where, for some unknown reason, we have 6 dildo or masturbation stories, we're going to bring them to you.
Yeah, there's no red flags going up anywhere because of that.
We'll keep it clean, though.
It's the Steve and Kyle podcast, Tuesday, December 20th, 2016, the year of our Lord, and it's our last official show before Christmas, before the holiday season. That's right.
The big Christmas season, the spirit.
Oh, yeah, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't wrap that in the time between you sending the text saying on my way over and the time of you actually pulling in the driveway.
Well, I'll tell you right now, from a distance, it looks
beautiful.
Like you wrapped it from when I texted you to when I pulled in the driveway.
You know, it's a shame, too, because I'm usually pretty good at wrapping gifts.
Right.
But it's one of those ones where it's like, it's basically a plastic, the thing that I got you, it's in like a plastic bag and it's got the little cardboard at the top. Okay. So it could be hung on one of those little pegboard type shelf. So there's really no actual solid form or structure to it. So when you try to make those corners tight, it just all kind of crumbles. Yeah.
Yeah. It is obviously the official Steve and Kyle podcast Secret Santa Swap 2016.
Oh, man, I wonder who on the staff I got this year.
I mean, a lot of interns going on behind the scenes right now. Of course, didn't ask them to pay anything. That'd be breaking some rules, Steve. But
I think maybe Randall got me. Right. Randall, you get me? No, he's not. We
don't turn his mic on. That's what we do to people. We're pushing off the podcast. We turn their microphones off.
He's not talking to us. He seems a little upset. Well, his internship is coming to an end at the end of the semester.
Right. Yeah.
It's been a good semester here on the Steve and Kyle podcast.
But you mentioned this is the last official program before the Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
This is. Have you had time, Steve, to feel like you're in the season yet? Now I know you've had travel. You're doing a lot of radio show stuff. And now you're leaving the day after Christmas to go back home.
Driving back to New Jersey.
A lot going on, man. This has been one of the fastest holiday seasons I can remember.
It is. I mean, it's different this year because I'm engaged now. So when we got engaged a couple of weeks ago, one of the first things we talked about was Annette has a huge family, and they're all like local enough where you can drive there in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So they all came to her parents' house for Thanksgiving a couple of weeks ago. So we saw everybody. Well, they also get together at Christmas, but their family Christmas was this past weekend in Indianapolis. So at Thanksgiving, we weren't engaged yet. We got engaged, so I was like, well, it would be nice to see your family. Your family is super excited, so I think it would be nice if we made the trip to Indianapolis. And originally, we weren't planning on doing it, and because I was going to be traveling Thursday and Friday of last week, well, that trip ended up getting canceled. So then I was home all day on Friday, and we were like, well, let's just go. So we just Saturday morning, we hopped in the car. We drove to Indianapolis. We saw her whole family. Did the whole Christmas thing. It was awesome, man.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So that was like the first oh wow, it's actually Christmas.
Yeah.
And then we're going to see my family next week. So looking forward to that, because the funny thing was, though, we walk in the door at her aunt and uncle's house in Indy. Pretty much everyone was there already. They had all gotten into town a little bit earlier than us. So we walk in the door, and we're not in the door 5 minutes, and everybody's like, so, tell the story.
I was just going to ask.
So we sit down, we grab a drink, we sit down, tell the whole story. And I mean, it was awesome, because it was a total captive audience. Everyone's just sitting there hanging on your every word. Right. Like, she's telling the majority of the story. I'm throwing in these little one-liners that are making the crowd go wild. I'm like, we couldn't be more popular than we are in this room at this exact moment.
Like a two-man band.
Oh, it was great.
It was great. The stage.
It was great. And then it was even better when an hour later we told it a second time, because newcomers had arrived. So by this point, we had our routine down. So we're flying through this. She's looking at me, giving me the cue. I'm telling the zinger. Everyone laughs. I look back at her, cue her. She starts the story again. And then the third time, though, that might have been the best.
Really? You finally perfected the act.
I bailed on that one, though, because it was. I was just going to ask. I think it was her cousin that got there the latest. So somebody comes running in, and they say, "Oh, Aunt KJ wants you to tell the story again." Oh. And I was like, Aunt KJ was in the room the first, she's already heard this twice.
It's like she went to a movie, turned around, said, "You know what? I enjoyed that," and went and bought the ticket for the next show while they're still cleaning, and walked back in.
Yeah, walked right back in. And it was fun, though. I mean, they were. It was cool to see how excited everybody was, and it was really nice. So we had a blast.
Are you got was number 3 at the time? You're like, okay.
Oh, yeah,
I'm done.
I was like, yeah, boy, I'm going to go.
Oh, that's going to drive you nuts.
I'm going to go over here.
Right.
So, but I figured next week it's going to be the same thing with with my family.
Did you think about recording it? And maybe just everybody gather around, have it okay.
We did. I mean, I have the video from the radio show, and I thought about can I just stream this from my phone to the TV?
Well, let's say, someone passes away that you go to their memorial, whatever, either visitation or the funeral, and they'll sometimes have a memorial video with pictures.
Oh, and it's just on
have
repeat.
That on a loop.
Yeah, it's just on loop.
Just have that on a loop. Oh, Steve, tell the story. Living room.
Yeah. Don't worry, it starts over again in 4 minutes and 18 seconds.
Now, how many, and I'm not, you don't have to name names or even answer if you don't want, how many what's the countdown till your life's over, Steve? How many of those jokes?
Surprisingly, I've only had that from one person so far.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't even that. It was from a friend of mine who back home who said something like, "Well, we got to get together when you're home so I can tell her what a big mistake she's making." Well, that was not subtle, but thank you.
Oh my God.
Now, knowing the source, I know that it's obvious. I don't think that it's a person that's completely jaded and
right.
But come on, man. It's 2016. Are we still doing the the old ball and chain?
Right.
She tied you down again.
It's funny to me because everybody was like, "Oh man, you sure you're ready? And even the morning of, and you nervous? And I wasn't nervous on my wedding day until probably an hour before, and I wasn't nervous for any of the reasons you see in the movies.
Right.
I was nervous because I didn't want anything to go wrong.
Right.
That's the only thing I was scared about.
Well, with me, it's still 11 months away, but
is that an official date announcement, Steve?
Oh yeah, we got it. We it must be like the fastest anyone's ever booked.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
But yeah, we like, I'm more nervous with the nuts and bolts aspect of it. Like, I'm not worried about the weather because I can't control that. No. And it's not outside anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
And if it's 11 months away, it's November, it's garbage anyway.
Right, exactly. Unless, if we could have a repeat here in West Michigan, if we could have a repeat next November of what we had this November, we might be outside in shorts and T-shirts.
Yeah.
Because it was beautiful. But, I just worry about, like, I forget that this is not something, like, these things I worry about are not things I need to worry about, because there are people whose job it is to plan weddings.
Right.
They do this all the time. So they know that the florist has to talk to the venue and that they have to know this person and what this guy's doing and how to get from this place to that place. But I'm sure that it's going to drive me nuts over the next year, but I'm not really worried about it too much right now. But yeah, we did set a date. We got engaged on Friday, and we set a date on Tuesday, I think. Because,
nice work.
Well, Annette started looking up places that she likes, that she had...
Like venues.
Venues, exactly. So she's like, oh, maybe... We had talked about, okay, well, once we're on vacation, we'll sit down and we'll look, we'll figure out what we're going to do for a date. So we had already knew we wanted to do a fall wedding. So October, November of next year is what we tossed around. Specifically, we would have liked to do October. Well, Annette found a couple of venues, and she sent them to me, like, just, sent them over to me. She's like, oh, look at these when you get a chance. Maybe when we're on vacation, we can stop by and visit these venues. So she had filled out, like, the little form on the website or sent in an email, just, like, initiating the conversation. And every one of them got back and said, "Oh yeah, we're booked."
for even the fall.
We're booked for October and November. And then the one venue that she looked at, or that she had, or not that she had looked at, that was on her list. I've actually been to a wedding there. I've been to a wedding and a company Christmas party there. And I was like,
I know what you're talking about.
And I said, I know she's gonna love this venue.
Start with a G.
Yeah. I know she's gonna love it. I've been there before. I think it's an awesome venue, and it's like the style that we want and everything. So I was like, she's going to really like this. Well, the wedding planner at that place got right back to her and said, yeah, you can, I have an opening today at 1 o'clock. This is like last Tuesday. So Annette took a long lunch at work. I met her over there. We were 2 steps in the door, and Annette goes, I'm in love. I love this place.
Oh.
I was like, I like it too. So we walked, did the whole tour. And when we were going to leave, I said, well, why don't we look at least one more place just for comparison's sake? Because I don't want to book the first place that we look at. Right. So she called another place that we were looking at, and they had an opening too. We drove right over there, looked at it. It was nice, not as nice as what we had looked at. We called the other place back. We're like, yeah, we'll take it. And they said, okay, well, we have November 18th open. We're like, well, we're getting married on November 18th.
Did you, now you guys would make terrible home buyers then.
Oh,
2 feet into the first place.
Oh, dude, did I ever tell you about my house? Like, not this current house.
Is it similar?
My house was the first house I looked at, and I bought it.
Well, and that's you were in a bit of a pinch there. Well, no, you had the apartment.
Yeah, I had my apartment. I had the option to go month to month or extend it for 6 months or a year. I could still be in that apartment if I wanted to.
So what you're telling me is you just are prone to rash decisions.
Oh, yeah. Well, in my defense, though, with the house, I had been working with a realtor, and so he sent me, I told him exactly what I wanted. He sent me a list of like 30 houses. Like, I'm sure, when you were looking for a house, they do the same thing. And they say, okay, we'll go through and look at these. These all fit your criteria. Tell me which ones you like. We can then go and set up showings. Well, I looked at all of them. I narrowed it down to like 15. And there was one house that was by far number one on my list. And it just so happened to be the first house that he was able to schedule a showing at, which ended up being the house that I bought. So whether I had looked at that house first or 25th, I would have bought it.
So it hasn't backfired yet.
No.
I mean, at this point, just keep walking into the first place you see and booking it, right?
Yeah. So if anyone wants to sell a car, call me up. Just tell me it's for sale and I'll buy it immediately.
I didn't really know we were even planning our wedding until I came home from work on a Monday and I was like, "Oh, hey, how's purple and gray sound?" It's like, "Oh, what? I mean, just in general? That's yeah, those are no our wedding colors." Oh,
okay,
you got it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's like, oh, I guess it's starting. And then a week later, we received from one of her coworkers this is no exact. It has to be at least 4 inches thick binder of places and flower people and DJs and all of this nonsense.
Caterers and...
Oh my gosh, it was madness. I'm way in over my head.
Oh yeah. Well, for me, I actually, because when we drove to Indianapolis this weekend, we drove with Annette's mom. She met us here Saturday morning. We drove there with her because we're all going to the same place. May as well carpool. I learned stuff in that on that car ride about my wedding. I'm like, really? We're gonna do that? That's gonna be great. Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Well, whenever you figure it out, just let me know where I need to go get fitted for my best man tux.
I think that it's funny because I think we're going completely non-traditional when it comes to wedding party.
Not going to do a tux then, huh?
I don't think we're doing tuxes. I don't think that we are doing the best man and the maid of honor.
Oh, okay. So that's what you meant by bucking the trend a little bit.
Yeah, I think that we're going to have uneven numbers.
Yeah, you mentioned that too.
Because we're like, screw it, man. It's
cares?
ours.
Yeah.
I don't want to put any of my friends... I don't want to put anybody in the awkward situation where it's like, okay, you have to give a speech or you know,
especially if they don't want to.
No,
I mean,
so it's not. I think that it'll probably be as non-traditional as it comes. Right. I'm happy about it. You know, I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. I want everyone to come and have a great time, and it's going to be a blast. So yeah, November 18th. Everyone listening, you're all invited.
If you can guess the venue. Nope, not even that. No, that's still too high probability.
Because you already gave one clue. And
it was a letter.
Yeah, and there can't be that many venues in this area that begin with that.
Who said this area, Steve?
That's true. I have always wanted to get married in Albuquerque.
So let's talk update on the now early November Jersey bachelor party.
Oh, yeah.
On the boardwalk. How far are we on that?
The planning has not started yet for that.
Well, let me kick this off.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and book a flight for the weekend before.
Okay.
And I'll meet you at Karma. Whoever's there is there. We'll go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we'll go up, walk the boardwalk, maybe get some cheese balls.
I got to get some hair transplant surgery before then so I could spike it, though. I got to spike it. I need at least an inch thicker gold chain to go around my wife beater and leather jacket that I'm going to wear while we walk the boardwalk, obviously.
We'll stop and get some Italian food, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a good time. That's going to be a blast.
It's going to be me. We all want to stay in Michigan, man. Like, even the people from Jersey came to Michigan for this bachelor party.
Like, did Kyle get the memo? Because I feel like he's a little bit off.
Hey guys, here's Atlantic City. Come take a look.
Now it's funny. It's funny that we started talking about this because your beautiful wife, your better half, posted something on Facebook over the weekend. She posted on my Facebook wall, and I feel like it needs to be addressed.
I didn't even read it. I just read the comments and thought, that's enough. I am uninterested.
Well, it's a link that she posted from Topics Offbeat. I don't know what that is. Some website. 23 hilarious hipster wedding trends that need to stop right now. So I see this and I thought, well, perfect. Katie's helping out with some wedding planning from afar. So I get to it and I'm like, I got a lot of problems with stuff on this list. I got a serious problem with things on this list.
Things that you like that don't.
And now I got a serious problem with Katie because there's some issues here. I think we've cleared it up since then. I think that we've smoothed everything over.
You're all square now.
Yeah,
because so you think there's things on this list, to be clear, that are in fact good should continue and do not need to be stopped.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, it's 23 hilarious hipster wedding trends that need to stop right now. So let's see. Number 1, mason jars. Look, I don't care about mason jars either way. I think they look fine. You put some lights in them, stick them on a table. I don't have an issue with them.
I think those are hybrid now too, because you see them in a lot of country style weddings as well. You know, the moonshine idea, yada yada.
I have no problem with mason jars, none at all. Wedding Chuck Taylors. So bride and groom wearing Chuck Taylors.
Hate it. Burn.
Again, that's one that I don't have a dog in the fight. I've never had a pair of Chuck Taylors. I look at these like the groom has a pair of black with a pink stripe down the back that say husband. The bride has a pair of white ones with a black stripe that says wife. Looks fine. I don't care. Ugh. You're not a fan, huh?
Hate it. I don't know that I'm necessarily like fully traditional, but I do really appreciate the look of a sleek, tailored outfit, whether it's a suit or a tux, with the shoes that go according with it. Definitely not high top Converse.
Well, they say this was cute the first 10 times we saw it, but now it's like, did you know there are other kinds of shoes? This is where the problem started.
All right,
this is something I had never heard of before, but I cannot imagine that anyone would have a problem with a donut wall. A donut wall. Look at this. That looks glorious. It looks like a big wall with like little hooks sticking out of it, and there are donuts hanging on them. What could you not like, Katie, about a donut wall?
Now, I'll say this as a bit of a donut fan myself.
Donut aficionado.
Yeah, I appreciate a good pastry. That is an abomination.
So there's a line in the sand, is what you're saying. All right, then.
All I'm saying is you better be glad this desk appears to be too heavy for me to flip.
So the wall is the issue.
The wall is the issue.
If they were on a nice platter.
I've been to a wedding where instead of a cake, there were donut holes like built up into trees, like mini trees, and you could take donut holes off of there. A little bit different to me than what appears to be like a dry erase board with nails through it and Krispy Kremes dangling. It's ridiculous.
Well, I see no problem with it, so you'll be seated next to the donut wall at our wedding.
It's going to be a bummer if I lean back and that whole wall happens to go careening backwards.
So they say, why is this an appropriate way to display donuts? What happened to plates or even cute donut boxes?
No, that's dumb.
Okay, this I had never heard of. Naked cakes. Never heard of a naked cake before. If you look at it, it's just a cake without icing, basically. It has like frosting in between layers.
Spend the extra $50 and get frosting. You bunch of hipster idiots. That's ridiculous. That's a violation. That's not even a cake.
It's more like it's like a Twinkie, basically.
Yeah, that's like having, if you get a Pop-Tart that has the frosting on it, but you just eat the crust and throw the rest away.
Or those stupid Pop-Tarts that don't have any frosting on it.
Oh,
like
yeah, those
those
are really fun.
Oh, cool. It's like bread.
Yeah.
Thanks for bread.
Oh, let me have white bread that I'm going to lightly dust with like brown sugar. So stupid.
So naked cakes. If you didn't want icing, don't have a cake. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Is what they say. This one, I've been to a wedding that had a mashtini bar.
Now, I believe
a mashtini bar is like...
That's where they lose me, Steve. Now, I'm a bit of a mashed potato aficionado, if you will.
It's a martini bar, but instead of martinis, mashed potatoes. So you get your little martini glass. Yeah. They put some mashed potatoes right in there, and then you put the chives on it, maybe some bacon bits.
Yeah. What? Now they do that with macaroni and cheese as well, and both of those things were hand-delivered by the gods. Yeah. And they need to stay forever.
Yeah.
Again, I say that as a bit of a potato aficionado, Steve. I love them in all varieties. French, freedom.
And then they say, it's actually really difficult to eat mashed potatoes from a martini glass. No, it's not.
No, there's a spoon, man.
Yeah, use a fork, too. If you can't get the spoon down all it's no different than eating it off of a plate.
No, you're already giving me your novelty salads in weird glasses that I can barely dig to the bottom of. Don't tell me about a solid substance that's hard to get to. Mashed potatoes.
Now, the next one on this list goes back to something that we kind of referenced when you said how many people have done the whole, like, oh, the old ball and chain. So the next one on this list, signs that imply the groom doesn't actually want to get married. And in the picture, they have a little kid with he's obviously part of the wedding, and he's holding up a sign that says, last chance to run.
I've been to a family member's recently.
Hitting a little close to home.
Yeah, it's fine, though, because that list is 100% correct. That needs to go away.
I don't know. This one, it doesn't bug me that much. I'm not a huge fan of those live, laugh, love, like cutesy
those
signs everywhere.
Take me a little bit, too, yeah.
I just, it was nice when you'd see one or two of them, but now there are entire stores that are dedicated to them.
Yeah, and I don't need a manuscript on the sidewall.
Yeah, I don't need like John 3:16 across the ceiling. Or
can we put some motivational ones in the new APS?
Oh, that is a brilliant idea.
Like we're going to screw S up, stay out of the way type of deal.
But we do it in that fancy script that changes fonts. So like the top line is like in larger font. The middle one is in a different like block style font.
We absolutely need to do that on like a sidewall where, oh, that's nice. It's homey. Wait, what does that say? Yeah.
All right, next. Burlap anything.
Right.
Okay, so in the picture they have the utensils in a little burlap sack on top of the plate.
I'm trying to remember if I had any burlap in my wedding. I don't think I did.
It's crazy. Like, it's crazy that people look at this and they're like, oh, no way. This pisses me off.
Well, I thought a lot of these were going to be like overarching themes, which some of them were, but to say like, I don't like my mashed potatoes in a martini glass.
My fork isn't supposed to be like that. This one, major problem.
Oh, God.
Next one.
Oh, no.
Right up there with being pissed about people being pissed about donut walls. And I'm looking at you when I say that, so help me God, if you're not a fan of chocolate fountains, get the hell out.
No, as long as it's not in a Golden Corral, I think a chocolate fountain is a great idea.
What is wrong with it? What could possibly be wrong?
Exactly.
Who has an issue with a chocolate fountain?
If I don't have to watch an obese child stick his mouth under it or whatever at a buffet restaurant, I am totally on.
So help me God if there are kids at our wedding that stick their hands in my chocolate fountain.
Yeah. Because it's a nice idea. You have the chocolate fountain, and then around it you have a bunch of different items that you can then stick in chocolate fountain. Marshmallows, whatever.
Strawberries.
Crackers, fruit, anything. It's a great idea, and that's not a hipster thing at all.
No. I think that this is definitely a hipster thing. The next one, gray cakes. Look at that. It's a cake, but it looks like a black and white photo of a cake, or like a grayscale photo of a cake. I've never seen anything like that.
I think my cake looked like that.
I think that looks fine. I don't see anything wrong with that. Nothing at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a different color.
Yeah.
You see blue and red cakes and purple.
So
what is wrong with a gray?
Is gray hipster now?
Yeah, man, I guess. Boy, in that case, like I said, the colors of my wedding were purple and gray. I'm half hipster.
You're such a hipster.
Oh, look at me twisting my mustache.
Candy buffets. Raise your hand if you don't like candy. Oh, look, no hands in the world went up.
No hands in any room ever went up. I went to one of Katie's coworkers had a wedding where there was a candy buffet, and all of the candy was special made in their wedding colors.
Oh, okay.
And I filled cup after cup after cup.
Kind of
with
like
said candies.
Kind of like I did with cheese at your wedding.
Oh my God. We need to find that now.
Have you paid the bill off yet for that?
I'm glad that was paid up front. The only thing I have any regret about is the presumed 85 people who came behind you and would have liked a piece of cheese.
Sorry about that.
But hey, man, I was there for the eating.
I was there. We were at the end that I. Because they walk up and say, "Oh, you can go up to get your food now." And we were on the opposite end as to where they started, and I hadn't eaten much that day, so I was pretty hungry. I was like,
did you run a marathon? Were you part of that? Did you run the riverbank?
Maybe. I don't know.
I think you may have.
I don't know. But even if I didn't, I was still hungry, and I was gonna eat. I was gonna eat as much cheese. I mean, there was cheese there. There's cheese there for a reason. Did you guys buy that cheese for decoration?
It was decorative, yeah. I got a picture while I'm sitting at the head table of my own wedding, and I don't even know what the caption on it was, but it was just a picture of what can only be logically described as a mountain of cheese.
Yeah.
And crackers strewn about.
A couple crumbs here and there.
Right? Like you weren't letting anything get away from you.
No.
That's ridiculous.
No. And that was glorious. But boy, I don't think I pooed for 3 days after that.
Yeah, candy buffet or whatever it was called there, keep everywhere.
Yeah. So what
do these people want at their wedding?
I don't know.
White cake with buffet line standardized food.
I guess so. Yeah, there has to be a meat and a chicken and a fish.
Right.
Come on, man. Mix it up a bit.
Yeah, have some fun.
Bridal cowboy or bridal cowgirl boots, if you're not a real cowgirl.
Cow anything. Keep it out of the wedding party. Keep it out of a wedding venue.
Okay. So no to cowgirl boots.
And cowboy boots.
And cowboy
hats.
Yeah.
And flannel shirts.
Well, it's
at a wedding.
But like they said, unless you're a real cowboy.
Unless you came in from herding cattle and washed up and went to your wedding.
Yeah. Don't expect me, shocker, I know. Don't expect me to ride up on my horse to my own wedding.
Yeah.
And hop out, hop off the horse and put my hat on and walk in with my spurs. I guess I can see that. Although cowgirl is really trendy now.
It's very trendy.
So I'm going to post, there's this list goes on forever. I'll post the whole thing in the show description so you can check it out.
What I'm finding out here is I have very divisive opinions about weddings.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Boy, I guess you should take note. You're on deck for me. You're on notice. I'm going to be judging wall to wall when I walk in.
So you're walking with a clipboard oh, jeez. Man, I don't know about this.
Start the list.
Of a tape measure. What, are we 8 feet between tables? What is this?
Steve, this donut wall already is a donut wall, and it's 2 feet too long.
So, yeah, that we got a lot of enjoyment, Annette and I did, when we saw that Katie had posted that.
That's funny.
What is wrong with, sweets? What is wrong with candy?
Hey, you will not enjoy anything. Your dessert will be a buttermint, and that is it.
Ugh, just
That's
awful.
Great. Well, we've talked about it a few times here. Well, when did we want to do... Did we want to save...
Oh, the big Secret Santa.
Did we want to do the Secret Santa before the Fast Five?
Yeah, let's save it for the end.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. Now, just a quick recap, the ground rules were we were buying Secret Santa gifts for various members of the Steve and Kyle podcast staff.
Yep.
So you never know who I drew. You never know
anybody.
who Kyle drew or various other people
that
are part of the program here at the Amazon Prime Studios. And we set a limit of $10, including shipping.
Because it's Amazon Prime.
Obviously. I wonder what the biggest, heaviest item you could get on Amazon Prime for under $10.
That's a good question. I'll tell you right now, because I started searching for sleds this week to see. But boy, do they cover their shipping costs in the flat cost of said sleds on Amazon.
Yeah. That's
so we'll do the gift exchange coming up. But there's been something that's been burning on my mind. I normally have a tablet here when we do the show, Steve, and I haven't had it, but I know for a fact for 6 weeks on the tablet under things I wouldn't mind talking about. Mm-hmm. Number one has been my vacation coming up. I depart next Wednesday.
Okay, you're going.
I'm going to Hawaii.
Yes.
Steve, okay,
that's beautiful. That's
great.
Great.
Hawaii is a dream of mine. I for my outlook, it's probably a once-in-a-lifetime type of deal.
Okay.
I didn't expect it to happen this year, but my wife's brother is stationed there for the Navy.
Right.
And he leaves in February.
And he's been there a while, too,
He's been there 3 or 4 years. She's been down there once to visit her first nephew after he was born. So they wanted us to come down for Christmas. I said, no, thank you. And so we compromised. And
why did you say no thank you?
I don't know, man. I'm so super traditional,
You're
I guess.
Traditionalist.
I like to be home in
with family.
As stupid as it sounds, in hopefully a winter setting for
of
Christmas.
Course.
I don't know.
Yeah, you want to have the window open and see the big snowflakes.
Right.
in
don't
front
get
of
me
a
wrong,
crackling fire.
I'm not judging anybody who, warm weather wants to get out of the way of the snow. I don't care. That's fine.
That's what we're doing next year. We've already decided honeymoon.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to go on our honeymoon at Christmas.
Really?
Gone. I mean, we may be here actually on Christmas Day, but
right around it. Well, that's what we compromised to. So we're departing on December 28th, and we're going to Hawaii. And it's not good for me. It's good. It's going to be fun. Okay. Obviously, it's a Hawaiian vacation. I don't mean to say it like that. What I do mean to say is I already have a hard time handling a 3-hour flight to Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. And this is a long flight, right?
Our
10
first
hours?
flight there, we actually got, I don't know if it's better or worse. We go from West Michigan to Minneapolis. Okay. And Minneapolis straight to Honolulu.
Oh, boy.
The first time I've ever been on one of those 3-row airplanes.
Oh, okay.
That I've only ever seen in the movies.
You're great. Those things are awesome.
Are they?
You don't feel a thing because they're so much bigger.
Yeah.
It's the little like 2-engine ones where it's one seat on one side and 2 on the other. Those are the ones where you feel everything.
Right.
But that thing, it's like it's a massive, massive vessel.
Right.
So all of the wind conditions and everything, it doesn't affect it nearly as much.
So it's bigger, you said. This is the longest flight I'll ever take.
Much bigger.
So more likely to run out of gas is what you're telling my brain.
Is that like that's
my head?
That's the A to B, the connection that's made in your brain?
I'll say that has popped into my head more than once.
So are you
past 2 weeks?
Are you a guy that's going to be peeking out the window, like trying to motion to the ground crew, like, hey, no more bags. We are max capacity.
She needs a third.
Really? We're going to Hawaii. Like pack an overnight bag with a couple of bathing suits in it.
Well, let me tell you where you went wrong there, Steve, in thinking that I'm going to be near a window.
Oh, are you square in the middle?
Will not touch it. Put me nearest the aisle that people will bump me. Don't care. Keep me away from the window.
Well, the good news is you're in one of the 3 wide things.
Right.
So are you in the middle of the middle?
I don't believe so. I picked our seats. I remember I just looked at them probably 2 months ago. I don't remember where we are. Either way, I planned it. Not at a window. I don't want to see the window. Katie knows that, and I appreciate it for understanding that she obviously can have the window open. I will not partake.
When you say the window open, meaning
the curtain.
Right.
Yeah,
I wanted to clarify that for your sake.
So just to wrap up my fears of this, I had to text. Okay, so I'm a big football fan. I know we talk about sports occasionally. My Detroit Lions are in the hunt for the playoffs. Yada yada. Well, I guess it didn't dawn on me until a few days ago that I'm going to be in Hawaii for their Week 17, the last week of the regular season game, which at this point is shaping up to be a massive, massive game for them. Yeah. Whether they're going to make the playoffs or not.
So you need to check with your brother-in-law if he has like Sunday ticket.
Nope. I said find a bar that will serve me beer at 7 a.m.
Yeah, that's right, because you're going to be
6 hours.
6 hours in it, 6 hours back. Yeah.
So
you're going to get up and go to a bar at 7 a.m.
I don't care. Whatever has to happen, I need to be drinking. Yeah, I would prefer to be alone, not alone, like, but not around children because I do get relatively upset during these Lions games. Yeah. I don't handle them great.
Now, I know that you've had a lot of trouble with your cable provider as of recently.
Yeah.
Your cable provider do they have any of the options where you can watch any of their content like online through your
Supposedly they do. I talked to my friend who's actually in Afghanistan right now who has the same cable provider over there, and he has a laptop or whatever, and he says he can make it work over there to watch some games and whatever. My only concern is that I know they black out a lot of things. I don't know the rules on that. I can't even listen to the radio broadcast online.
Yeah,
because it's blacked out.
Live sports are super weird.
It's really weird, and so I don't know. I'll have that in the tank as a backup, but also again, it's my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, and father-in-law are going as well, and then they have 2 young children. Part of me is a little bit concerned about having just a Lions game that's the biggest regular season game in like 3 or 4 years on the television, and me with my
maybe go to a bar.
So
those 7 a.m. Hawaii bars.
But hey, that's why I told him. I said, can you find one for me that will serve me a beer at 7? Because I can't be the only one in Hawaii who watches the NFL and deals with the 6 hour. And it's good business for them. You got 1 or 2 people on staff, football fans there want to watch. So he said there are places. Well, here's the way I phrased it, because this will kind of sum up my fears. I have a small favor to ask of you before I traverse the blue void of death in a rocketing piece of sheet metal to come see an island filled with natural disaster waiting to happen.
Well,
There's volcanoes!
I mean, you're really looking at the positives here.
Terrified, man.
Okay.
I'm not handling it well. I had to take totally legal, well, they're legal, totally my prescription sleeping pills to pack away because this 8.5 or 9 hour flight truly terrifies me. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Is it really that long
from Minneapolis to Honolulu? Now, on the way back, we're going to have, the jump around the map game that you see on a lot of long flights.
I remember talking to Katie about that last week when we were at bowling, or the week before or something, and she was saying you guys are like, it's a red eye, and then you.
Oh, it's a red eye. We leave at 9:40 Honolulu time, which
is like 3.
Where we are is 3:30 or 3:40 our time. And we arrive back in Michigan the next day at 3:30 Michigan time.
Oh, God.
So,
sounds great.
It's going to be fun.
And that's if there's no delays.
Yeah, what could go wrong? Yeah. It's January.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's fine.
It's warm in Hawaii.
Plus, I mean, that's not a concern at all for me, the fact that there's ice and sub-zero temperatures and that issue. No, I'm sure we'll get out. I'm sure we'll get in that frigid air just fine in that death freezer.
So is it 2 flights total? So you're flying here to Minneapolis to Honolulu.
Correct.
And then because Honolulu's on the Big Island, right?
Yeah, that's the big one with, that's the main one that you'll fly.
And that's
Oahu.
You're staying, okay.
And that
you're staying on that island.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's with Pearl Harbor and everything. And,
okay.
And I'm looking forward to being there. I am not looking forward to getting there.
Yeah.
And plus another reason, I'm a bit bummed out. It's been 350 some days, Steve, since you and I agreed to put on a duo performance of Auld Lang Syne at my New Year's Eve party 2016. Now we have to bump that a full 365 days.
Yeah, because we can't just bump it a week.
No, we're learning.
The only time that song can be played is on New Year's Eve / very early New Year's Day.
Well, we're learning one song. We're learning one. Right. We're learning Auld Lang Syne on the guitar and harmonica. I have my harmonica that I received as a Christmas gift, and my Harmonicas for Dummies book that I bought off Amazon Prime. And I just need to open it. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's a quick. Well, and to be fair, I would have opened it and started by now had this trip not come up. I told you it was a few months ago. I told you that we're going to have to postpone the big show.
Right? Yeah, I've been in mourning ever since, but it's okay. I mean. I was practicing really hard.
Right. That'll be around episode 70. Where we'll be able to play the audio of our big duet. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be no vocals. It's just going to be not a recorder, a harmonica.
A recorder.
If somebody wants to learn.
Are you switching? Are you switching up? If anyone out there listening can play that song that I don't know how to pronounce the name to.
Auld Lang Syne.
Okay. If anyone knows how to play that on the recorder, let us know. We'll set up a Skype session. We'll jam. By that point, we'll be in the new APS. The acoustics will be wonderful.
It's going to be, because next year, 2017 into 2018.
Yep.
Steve and Kyle, duet, Auld Lang Syne at my house. All eyes on us.
Might have to push that back to 2018, 2019.
You're going to be...
I'm probably going to be on my honeymoon then. But 2 years from now, the
you got to be kidding me.
The concert we're going to put on. Well, we'll at least have it prepared for the last podcast of 2017.
Right, we may just have to do
Someone please tweet that to us around maybe August of 2017 so we can start preparing.
We're just going to have to do it because 2 years is just absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, we're going to be masters.
Yeah.
Playing all the hits, not just Auld Lang Syne.
Yeah. Well, I wish I was going to Hawaii because that sounds pretty awesome, even though you decide to put the most negative spin in the world on it.
I do not do well with flying. The furthest I've flown is, I guess, is Orlando further than Vegas?
Yeah. Orlando is about 2 hours. Vegas is probably 3.
Okay,
3.5.
so Vegas is a little longer than to get there. I just hate the process. I don't deal well with it, I have motion sickness in general, so I feel like every time I'm on a plane or I'm on a flight that, we left early. Well, next thing you know, I'm like, that's cool. Oh, look at that. We arrived early. We're going to have to circle for 30 minutes while we wait for our spot, Yeah. And then probably you can't really feel it, but I feel like I can feel it.
Right.
And then there's never enough oxygen. First thing I do, I sit down, I turn that oxygen as hard as it'll open, and then I twist it back a little bit, and then harder again to make sure I have it at full blast.
Just so you don't run out of air, because that has been known to happen on flights. I
need it blowing at my face. I don't do well. I tell you right, on takeoff, I'm worse at landings. Takeoff, I'm not as bad. And I know the numbers say, well, you're more likely to crash on a takeoff.
Yeah.
Don't care. That first bounce, I always think, that's it. That's it.
Oh, the wheels are falling off.
That's the one. We're going to spin. Oh, it's icy. Oh, it's icy. I don't know, man.
Well, I wish you Godspeed on your trip. I hope.
I'll text you my last will and testament.
Yeah. I hope everything goes well. Yeah, and then if need be, then episode 21 will be the final episode of the Steve and Kyle podcast, but it'll be the beginning of the Steve podcast.
At least give me like a in memoriam episode.
Yeah, I'll start off by like reading our last text exchanges.
Right. Just meaningless drivel.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the Steve show.
Yeah, and I'll upgrade or I'll update the artwork. I'll just crop your face right out of it. And
you're not even centered. It's just your face still out to the left, and then just a void. Just a lot of black.
Yeah, and then you will be gone. Remembered to only the wind.
Right.
Is that a saying?
Remembered to the wind.
So when you first got here, I took you on a bit of a tour around the house.
Oh, man.
What do you think, man? The new APS. By the way, it was what? Originally, it was can't start the
50.
New studio until 50 episodes. Your expert negotiating skills got that knocked down to 40 with like in the blink of an eye. And then it was also agreed upon that construction could start at 30 episodes. We are so underway with construction in the new APS.
Like you said, I believe you mentioned it on Facebook or Twitter, Steve. As soon as you made a big purchase of a blood rock from an African country, she signed away all previous engagements or previous objections to the APS.
Well, now, the ring on that finger supersedes any agreements that had been made beforehand, based on timelines and everything. So we're full on. Like a couple weeks ago, we had the video where we
just knocked a few things down.
Yeah, we started clearing out the room. We got it stripped down to the studs, and then last week I had been kind of tinkering around down there, and I decided, okay, well, I needed to frame in a small wall, so I framed that in like last weekend.
Yeah, this was done Friday before, because initially I was going to meet you after I got out of work Friday. Mm-hmm. You sent me a picture before I was even out of work Friday of like, walls framed.
Oh, I was so motivated because my work trip got canceled. I'm like, well, I got all day Friday, all afternoon Friday. I don't have anything to do now. This is great. I was going to be on the road. So I went over, I picked up a bunch of materials, and started framing in walls. And then I'm like, well, that went really easily. I'll start doing the electrical now. So I made another trip out, picked up some electrical stuff. We went from one like outlet in the wall. You know, it's got the two plugs in it.
Yeah.
Only one of them worked in the entire room. So we could plug in one device at a time in that room.
Well, because during the demolition we did,
it wasn't even working.
You checked a few of them and they weren't even working.
Yeah. It wasn't even working right. I finally got it working.
Oh, okay.
So we went from being able to plug in one thing in that room. We can now plug in 16 things simultaneously. 16. I put in 8 outlets around the room, each one with the dual plug on it.
Right. I'm telling you, I actually we'll do an update video here really, really soon, maybe even this week for you, just to show what it looks like now. TV mount. There's some insulation in there.
Yeah.
Where what feels like a hair away from talking drywall after some lighting gets done.
Yep.
This thing is well on its way to being ready for move-in by the time the birds are singing come spring.
I ordered a custom-sized door.
Oh, yeah, the biggest thing.
Well, I was like, I'll just go and pick up a $50 door, and I'll just hack it down so it fits. But it wasn't like the size door I needed. Nothing that I bought was going to look right. Proportions were going to be all off. I was like, screw it. I just went to Home Depot. I ordered a custom-sized door, which wasn't cheap, and it's a lot more than I wanted to spend.
Well, as you mentioned, they doubled the cost.
Yeah,
you want it custom, it doubles.
It doubles the cost, yeah. So, and it's not like it was a lot of money. It was like $150 or something, but
for the size door, though.
Yeah, I know. It's like a clubhouse door, basically. Yeah. I'm like, how is it? You'd think that if the door was smaller, the price would come down because there's less material.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Man.
Not so much.
So we got a door on the way.
We got a door on the way.
Some insulation on top. Oh, it will look, once we can shoot a little video to walk through, it's going to, everybody will get a really nice idea of how far it's come, even from what we need to do is a side-by-side of the first picture you took of even when you just cleaned it up a little bit before we knocked anything down and where we are now. And that'll be a nice progress point as we go along, which, by the way, thank you for all the listens and and everything and all the sharing that's been done. For some reason, a really, really big spike in numbers last week. I don't want to explain it. I don't care.
Yeah.
It went way up. It was really nice.
Yeah, it was great.
So I keep sending people. And
you sent me a text the other day. You said, wow, that's crazy. Our numbers from not last week's episode, but the previous one, for some reason, just jumped. Like there was a big spike. And
I'll usually, like I said, I'll have a tracker where I track every episode's listens week by week. And I'll say that comparatively, this was at least 60 to 70% higher every week prior to the main show. But StephenKyle.Libsyn.com. So subscribing helps, and obviously the sharing and the reviews, and it must have gotten out somewhere, published somewhere, and some people gave it a listen.
Someone shared it or something. But the more that you can share, and the more that you can comment and upvote and like or whatever the particular platform that you're listening on, because we post it on iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Libsyn, so it's super easy to get. You can really get to it from anywhere. So all the sharing that you've done, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. But yeah, hopefully APS will get some drywall up there in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
and that's when it's really going to look like it's actually turning into something.
Right, and then simple things like having that thing fully walled in with the lights that you had in mind is going to, and then obviously when we start getting the fixtures in there, that's where it's going to really take on a different life. So.
I got to show you something.
Oh, now I'm
excited.
Now I'm excited. This is like show and tell whenever this happens. It's only happened a few times when Steve's gotten up to get something. Oh, it's the on-air light.
I have this on-air light that Annette had gotten me, I believe, for my birthday. I'm not positive, but it didn't. It came just. You have to hardwire. You have to wire it up yourself.
Yeah.
So I played around with it. It's not as.
So is it just a regular plug with like a turn style on the back to turn it on, or is it just plug in?
I haven't wired in a switch yet, which I'm going to do. But as of right now, I think I have to adjust something to make the lights a little bit brighter.
Oh, okay.
But oh man, we are on the air.
That is beautiful.
And I think I'm going to wire it in so whenever the light switch is on down in the basement,
that'll turn on.
Down in the APS. I'm sorry, basement. Come on, it'll turn on. But yeah, we're moving, man.
That's great. I'd forgotten about the on-air light. That's like episode 1 to 2 conversation that we were having.
Even after you unplug it, it stays on for like 5 seconds.
Like dims down a little bit. Oh man. Well, yeah, but like we said, the APS coming along. There will be a video update on that very soon. And then when we move in there, that's where we have a lot more freedom down there. If we decide we want to do a webcam or something where we can video this, so you'll be able to download it as a video or just audio, whichever you prefer.
Yeah,
all those things. And the simple thing between that and upgrading our equipment, which we've been talking about, it's going to sound a lot different. It's going to be a lot more cohesive for us to be able to see a video we're playing on, and actually be able to look at things together. So
we're looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun.
Which, speaking of, I know we talked about previous episodes. We talked about last week. I sent you some audio.
You did.
I sent you some audio of. You probably didn't hear it just on. I had to boost this a ton.
Yeah, and I have not listened to these at all.
Okay.
Now we have clip 1 and 2, and then full clip 1 and 2.
We'll play the fulls first.
Okay.
The second one's not as clean. It was stepped on. The first one we may as well have cleared a path, hit record in a sound deadening room. And then your throat. Oh, how did I even title it?
I think you said, you refer to it as my throat demon.
Yeah, Steve's throat demon comes out to play.
Okay.
So this is the first one with
full clip number 1.
Full clip number 1 as we're talking. This is what happened.
And you had to. Now this is edited, so there's a boosted part.
Correct.
But it had to be done. Like every time.
Whoa! Oh no! That was amazing. I don't know if was that you.
That was.
Can you
one
believe
more time?
That?
Hold on. Like every time, you hear that?
Oh no, that was amazing! I don't know if was that you.
That was.
We need to sell that to a horror movie franchise
to like
because
a
that's
circus or something.
Because that's a bullfrog.
That is insane.
That is a bullfrog in a rainstorm, is what that is.
That's
and then
crazy.
I just for the singular, I isolated it.
Okay, so that's Throat Demon 1.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Obviously, like I said, it's crazily boosted, but so only you and I heard that because when I listened back, you gave me the timestamp for the first one, and I seeked out the second one.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, when I found it, absolutely inaudible to the ear. So I took what was the 2-second silence and kept hitting. Now I have, I boost it by 3 decibels at a time, and I have it saved so I can just press the up arrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to press it at least 15 times, and then that thing came out.
You know what it sounds like? Everything that comes out of me sounds the same.
It is. You have an entity begging to get out. That's the only explanation I have. And I mentioned so it was funny enough the first time. Little did we expect it to happen twice, and it was within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was within 10 minutes time that we're sitting, and I don't know the context of what we were talking about, when all of a sudden it happened again and again. It wasn't audible to the ear, had to be boosted. Party in Jersey that I can...
Whoa. You hear that again? Whoa, let's hear that one more time.
Party in Jersey that I can...
It was very quick.
Hear that again? And we stepped on it, but it was obviously easy to hear, so if you play the isolated... It's very quick.
That one sounds more guttural.
It is. That was very quick. What's crazy, these headphones are so sensitive with the microphones. Yeah. That's all there is in this room. So anything like that can be heard. That's why sometimes you'll hear, it doesn't matter. Sometimes I'll lean over my left shoulder if I have to cough. It doesn't matter. In Steve's headphones, I know he can hear it.
Yeah.
But these microphones, who knows?
Yeah.
It's a weird mystery. We now have...
Oh, that's scary.
We now have 3 stingers to transition to another topic.
Well, moving on to another topic. Okay, done with that topic. How about this? All right, well, now to wrap it up tonight.
Boy, we could do a local news rundown where we go segment to segment. Oh man, that is great.
That's crazy.
So glad that happened.
The human body can make those noises.
I know, and there's no reason. It's not like you leaned back and had to burp or anything. We were talking, and it just was something in there. You had a glass of water.
Yeah, it's not like I drink anything that's like carbonated or thick or syrupy or anything. I drink water. That's all I ever drink.
Now, before we get into this, I can't even. What time were we at here, Steve? Are we okay for a little bit?
Yeah, we're at 58.
Okay. Very quickly, I want to ask you, was there a moment in the last, let's say, 4 or 5 years that hit you where you were like, oh boy, I feel old now?
I I'm sure there have been. I'm sure there have been many moments like that. Usually it's after I've gone a long time without running, working out.
Okay.
And, like that first run, and I'm just like, oh, God, I just want to go 3 miles. I want to go 2 miles, and I'm like 80 feet into the run, and I just feel like my knees are going to explode.
Right.
I can't breathe right. I forget what I'm doing.
Right.
I get confused.
How do I get home? Yeah. How do I get home?
Is this the end?
Wait a minute. That's my neighbor. Steve, you're right there.
Yeah, it's usually with anything physical activity, or I feel really old anytime I talk about, like we've talked about it before, like Snapchat and things like that.
Out of touch. Yeah.
I deleted the app, by the way. I said, nope, this is, because I think I was sending people messages or something, but not knowing how to do it. So I was like, maybe I'll revisit that. But of course, I'm like, who designed this app? This thing's stupid. I don't know what I'm doing.
80 million users are fine with it. Steve's like, that's just a dumb interface.
Yeah,
this is terrible.
It's not user-friendly at all.
Which, by the way, an update on that, the hubbub of Annette not knowing how to use it. Well, me finding out that she uses Snapchat with one person.
Yeah.
So Katie and I going, we'll add you. So we add her, and then she gets accusatory the next time we see her. You said you were going to add me. And so you press this button and click added, like to show her.
So
she
surely
still hasn't done it.
So, really? She
hasn't done it. Let me pull this up for you.
I was going to say, surely at this point you guys are like
buddies, right?
Yeah, snapping back and forth every day.
That is absolutely what you would think until you see the lovely Annette pending, because it's gray because she hasn't accepted my request.
I thought that you actually took her phone and added it for her.
I must not have, because mine still shows that she's not seeing it.
Oh, man.
So, You know what? That's what I get. You try to do something good. Yeah. So back to what I was saying. I had this experience, Steve, on Sunday, and it was nothing physical. I went to see a movie at 10:45 in the morning.
Oh, boy. That would definitely make you, because there's no one there then.
There was 6 people who outaged me by at least a combined 500 years. It's not even close. And
what'd you see?
So here's the difference. It wasn't, I didn't go see Star Wars Rogue One. Mm-hmm. I didn't go see the latest action movie. And I just want to avoid the crowds,
You see like the history of dirt or something.
I went and saw a movie called Manchester by the Sea.
I've heard of it, but I know nothing about it.
It's an indie film with Ben Affleck's more talented acting brother, Casey Affleck.
Yeah. Oh, Casey Affleck from the viral SNL video from last weekend.
Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts.
I've watched that about 1,000 times.
Still haven't watched it. I just saw the headline of it.
I love Dunkin', guy.
So Casey Affleck plays a mid-30s single man who his brother unexpectedly passes away, and unbeknownst to him, his brother had left his 16-year-old son for Casey Affleck to be his guardian. Mm-hmm. And part of that he wanted was him to move back to Manchester and be his guardian and everything. Right. So it was a very heavy family-ish drama.
You cried.
Oh, I absolutely.
Like a baby.
I knew it might happen because my experience with this movie was somewhat minimal. I knew the gist of it. I didn't know that, and I'm not going to give much away, that he was previously I didn't know he was previously married and he had kids. Mm-hmm. And I knew he was going to interact with his ex-wife in some fashion. When the scene came where he has the main interaction with his ex-wife, and he's back in Manchester, and he's changing his whole, because he's a custodian. Okay. When his marriage ended, he moved down to Boston and he became like a handyman for an apartment complex. Okay, so he's living in this apartment complex in just a tiny room, just himself, and he's totally different. He's withdrawn. He drinks a lot. He gets in bar fights, and so when this scene hits of him and his ex-wife interacting, and it's this slow build, and I'm like, nope, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And it reaches this crescendo, and it just opens the floodgates.
Now, are you like
absurd.
audibly?
No, it wasn't that
doing
bad. No, it wasn't that bad. It was just a couple like tears streaming down my face on both sides, but no sobbing or anything like that. But bad enough, right? I'm at a 10:45 on a movie on a Sunday morning with 6 senior citizens who are checking their ARP cards. Like I was sitting behind 2 elderly women who went to the bathroom maybe 6 times apiece. And each time they would come back, the other, okay, so he got a job offer in Boston, and he said he wants to move back. Like a total update in the last 4 minutes of the movie. But I got that for the whole movie because they exchanged bathroom visits. But boy,
well, at least you didn't miss anything. I mean, if you happen to glance at your phone or something during one of those moments, at least Edna would fill you in on everything that happened.
But for me, I left there and I didn't really think about it. I was like, oh boy, I texted a friend about the movie that I talk movies a lot with, and that night I said, that was peak old for me. Like to wake up, feed the dogs. All right, off to the theater. Church parking lots are filled. The mall's not even open yet, Steve. They don't open until 11. Okay? None of the chains
but you
are
were
open.
In line.
But I walked through
no, not in line. There's no line. Of course, there's no line.
There's no line. I told you there were 6 total people. The concession people were thrilled to see me.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were excited to wake up.
Well, you know that it's bad when you're in the movie theater and they greet you by saying good morning.
Right.
Like that right there is an indication that you're there a little too early.
You know what, though? I have no regrets. If I could see a 10:45 movie once a weekend, I would do it.
I used to be really self-conscious about like, I don't want to do anything by myself because people will look at me and they'll think I'm a loser. But I don't care. Going to movies by yourself, it's not like when I'm going to the movies with Annette. It's not like we're having a conversation the whole time. So you're physically there sitting with another person.
Right.
I mean, sure, it's nice afterwards to be able to talk about the movie, but like, while I'm at the movie, I don't need anyone there with me.
Nope, and that's what I did. I go to movies by myself. It seems not as frequently as with other people, but man, I'll go to a dozen movies a year by myself. I'll go out to a theater. For me, it's a drive. It's probably 35 minutes, but they show like second-run movies and indie movies. So I'll flip through there every now and again if Katie has to work on a week, Saturday, Sunday combo, and I'll flip through like the $4 features that, nobody's seen. I'll go make a drive on a Saturday at 1 by myself and go see a movie.
Yeah, why not?
So I have no shame, but I felt peak old Sunday.
Yeah, that is pretty old. It'll be interesting to see what happens when you actually are old.
Oh.
Like, are you going to revert back? Like, are you going to have a longboard? And
I missed it. I missed all of it. Somebody, give me some hair dye.
Yeah, all of a sudden, you're going to be super young.
Get me some hair dye, folks. Well, I think it is. It's probably that time, isn't it?
Is it?
Oh, we should have had Dominic ready.
I just thought of that. I said we should have had some kind of music.
Yeah.
But I'm going to see if I can play.
Hey!
Listen to that.
That's right, everybody. It's the Steve and Kyle podcast, Secret Santa.
Dashing through the snow.
Listen to that.
Listen to those pipes.
Or the fields we go.
Wait,
laughing all the
that's Hispanic.
I was going to say
that is a Hispanic man.
English is not
language.
not this man's first language. Yeah, we should have thought about that and gotten our buddy
Dominic,
K-Mac to record some.
Right.
I'm sure he's got a ton of.
Kev Bro's got to have some holiday music ready in the tank, right?
Ooh, little disappointed by the way that Kev Bro never.
I
don't think he did he like that tweet?
He just liked the tweet. That's all he did.
Okay.
He liked the tweet, not the initial one of, hey, Kev Bro, thanks for the sweet jams.
Jams JMZ.
I did a follow-up. I don't even know what I wrote as the follow-up, and he liked that one.
Yeah, you did. You said something like, hey, we used your music again in our podcast. How do you do it?
Something like that. You know what? I feel like you're misrepresenting me.
No.
I'm gonna look now.
No, it was.
Was it that like patronizing though?
No, it might be. I didn't take it as patronizing. I thought that it was.
Well, it sounded like a childish kissing up to the guy because I wanted a response from him. You know,
I mean, who would accuse you of being patronizing and insincere? Definitely not me.
Oh yeah, hang on. Let me scroll past my my Twitter saga that I decided to display of my bloody nose round 2.
That was pretty nice. I like that.
Kevin, I did do exactly that.
Yeah.
Kevin, we used more of your music today. How do you do it so well? I don't even know what the song was that we found.
I have no clue.
Oh, man.
It might have been maybe no, because it was only like a week or two ago.
The record needs to know this man's making a living doing royalty-free music that he publishes online. Good for him.
Good for him indeed.
Man.
All right, so it is time for the official Steve and Kyle podcast, Secret Santa Gift Exchange. So I'm going to set this gift here in the middle of the table, and you set that one in the middle of the table. Now,
hang on, that's right.
Yeah, because it's secret.
It's a Secret Santa, so we need to. Okay.
Yep. All right. I'm going to turn to the side, and I'm going to look back. Oh, look at that. Oh, got some good
two gifts in the center of the table. I screwed up the Secret Santa by labeling it.
Sure did. Well, I mean, I guess it wasn't going to remain a secret forever. So it says, to Steve from Kyle, #1 co-host, compliments of Amazon Prime.
Right, obviously.
It's very nice. Now mine is lovely wrapping paper, by the way.
Take a look. That is cats.
Now yours is wrapped in cat wrapping paper, which
love it.
Did not notice until 1 second ago. But notice how I am the politically correct Happy Holidays paper because I am part of the war on Christmas.
Right, yeah. All you people with your billboards, keep Steve out of it. Now, how do we want to do this, Steve? Do we want to rip them open at once, or should we go one at a time?
I think we should go one at a time.
One at a time. Okay, please, Steve, as the owner of the APS, please open.
Well, I'm the tenant. I'm the tenant at the APS.
By the way, that is one of my favorite things to do on those posts where every comment is exactly the same, which is, OMG, congrats, love you so much, heart, heart, heart. So my comment on your engagement post, still one of my favorites. Does this mean you get to go from tenant to co-owner?
Yes. Yeah. Now, again, the rules for the Steve and Kyle podcast Secret Santa, we threw all of the names in the hat from everybody here that's part of the program. Each drew names, and we set a $10 limit, shipping included, from Amazon Prime. So help me God, if this is not an Amazon Prime item and you superseded the rules,
no,
it's going to be hell to pay.
It's from Amazon Prime.
All right, so
obviously.
This was...
Listen, Steve, I pay for it. I'm going to utilize it.
All right, here we go. Look at... this is very nicely packaged.
Yeah, it's so the key there, Steve, is to leave it in the Amazon packaging, so you have to throw it away.
Okay, which you did. It's in a small padded envelope. Okay, Amazon Fulfillment Services. Lexington, Kentucky, so I know that it is legit, although it is open, so I guess...
I did have to check to make... Because I've been getting everything from Amazon for Christmas.
Okay.
Well, no, I guess not everything, but a lot. Yeah. So I wanted to see, what is this today? Yeah.
All right, I'm reaching in. Feels like a
book. It could be for anybody. Remember, it's a Secret Santa, so it's a gift
true.
general for anybody on the staff here.
White elephant gift.
Yeah.
So I'm reaching in. It feels like a book of some kind. All right. Let's see. What is the... Oh, good Lord. It's a book about the Time Bandit, two brothers, the Bering Sea, and one of the world's deadliest jobs, with a new epilogue by the authors, Andy and Jonathan Hillstrand, with Malcolm McPherson.
Now,
good Lord. Gripping, enjoyable reading, says the Roanoke Times.
Wait a minute. Weren't they lost? The Roanoke... They're back?
I mean, when I need a book review, I go to the Roanoke Times. And, man, there they are. There's Andy and Jonathan Hillstrand. Jonathan with that USA leather jacket right there on the cover.
Now, I had a bit of an internal debate here because initially, so what happened was 2 weeks ago on the podcast, I talked about, I already got your gift ordered.
Yeah.
So you get, anytime you order something off Amazon, you get an email. So-and-so, your item.
Sure.
Well, my Gmail, like, your item from Amazon.com, ... automatically delete.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I always hold on to them until I actually have it in hand.
Right.
Just
should
makes
have
it
done
easier.
that.
Yeah.
Because once we talked about it on the podcast, I go, boy, that should have been here by now.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to my email. Your order has been canceled.
Oh.
I don't know what happened. I have no idea.
No.
So I had to go back and buy a different item. So I had another internal debate when I found this between the Time Bandit book or the book by Josh and Jake Harris about Captain Phil Harris.
Oh boy, I don't think you could have gone wrong. Any decision you had made there.
Well, I went with the Hillstrand book because you're obviously still best friends with the Hillstrands.
Yeah, with
from it's Jonathan, right?
Yeah, Jonathan. I
with
met Jonathan.
You met Jonathan
at
you
the
guys
Daytona
talked.
500 about a month after Captain Phil died.
Oh, that's
and
right.
And someone brought it up to him then.
No,
somebody in the group that we were in,
because
somebody was
February.
like, "Hey, man, sucks that Phil died," and the guy his eyes welled up with tears, and everyone's like, "Dude, what are you doing?" But yeah, I got a picture of me and Jonathan.
Yeah, well, because that's
the
February.
most famous boat captain in the world.
They might be.
Yeah.
They very well might be.
I think the Hansons are up there.
Right.
Sig and Edgar.
Sig has a book too, but he's a bit pompous for my taste.
Really?
So I pass.
Well, he has that gold watch that just drives me nuts whenever I see it.
Yeah, I do like him. But
all right.
So
let me read a couple of these reviews here on the back cover. You know that cool reality TV show Deadliest Catch? The boat captains featured on this series continue to scare us in this behind-the-scenes book. That's from the Sacramento Bee.
Did I buy you a horror book? Did they write a novel?
This boy's own adventure is delivered with the irresistible bluster of a fisherman raving to a rescuer about how he had just cheated death. Again, the Sydney Morning Herald says.
See, now what I'm excited to hear about with this is I had read previously they have a brother, a third Hillstrand, who works on the boat.
Yeah, what is his name? Neil.
But he is
Neil Hillstrand.
Oh, nice. From what I've heard, he is so crude and vile, they will not show him on the TV show. Really? That is absolutely true. That is 100% true.
Look at this. Andy, he's a cowboy too.
Right?
They show him at the rodeo.
Really?
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Andy,
color photos.
Obviously the less fun of the two.
This is nice. You sure you didn't go over the $10 limit?
That is a $10.15 Amazon Prime purchase.
All right. Well, that was an excellent choice. I thank you very much for that.
I'm glad. Because
look forward to reading that. This will be displayed prominently down in the APS once we move
because
in.
I was nervous. Well, not nervous, but we had talked about my fear of Kindles 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So I thought, this will show them.
Mm-hmm.
Paperback books,
right.
Man.
Excellent choice. I'm looking forward to reading Time Bandit, Two Brothers, The Bering Sea, and One of the World's Deadliest Jobs by Andy and Jonathan Hillstrand. That's very nice.
I do still have a gripe with Amazon that I'm going to hash out someday because Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run should be where that is sitting.
Oh, it's not...
it's Bruce Springsteen's new book.
Yeah.
I have no idea how it happened. When I was just looking, I go, I'll just check to see the price. And it was $10.
Was it
I go,
really?
That's insanity. It's brand new, right? So I clicked buy, and then that's when I got your order was canceled that I found out about. So
Very weird.
Amazon, you and I will hash this out in person. Going to go to the Seattle headquarters.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I've got the as described oblong shape.
Yeah.
From a staff member here on the Steve and Kyle podcast.
Could be anybody. Could be anyone at all. So I'm excited for you to open this. Not because it's necessarily for me, because I just
you like watching people
people open gifts.
Oh boy,
I think.
Oh yes! Oh baby, you get ready, world.
It's funny that we just talked about our big guitar/harmonica concert.
In 2 years, you wait, world. This thing is going to be put to the best use possible. This is a harmonica holder, Steve, that you only see the truest harmonicist of harmonicists wearing.
Is that what a harmonica player is? A harmonicist?
I feel like we might need to go to the tape on that. It's got to be, right?
Sure, yeah.
Harmonicist will wear where obviously it goes around your neck and holds the harmonica in front of you so you can worry about other things like hand gestures.
Yeah, of course.
And
or
maybe a little snap.
Playing guitars.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Happen. Is it?
Harmonicist.
Nailed it.
Someone who plays a harmonica.
Oh, I can't wait to put this thing to use.
Now, that is something...
Now, is this a universal neck, Steve? I've got a bit of a girthy neck that I want to make sure the holder will fit around.
I think it'll work. I searched high and low, for 1 minute on Amazon Prime.
Did you type in harmonica holder?
I typed in harmonica holder because I didn't know if it had an actual name or anything. But
Oh, yeah, and they got the wing nuts there to tighten it. Oh, my God.
You might have to take your headphones off.
No, not a single fit. Look at that.
Oh,
boy, I did it.
Jeez. Oh, there you go. It's fixed.
Just don't touch it.
Okay.
Yeah, so
you just
crank
down on that.
Goodness. What more could a harmonicist ask for? Aspiring harmonicist ask for. Now, I needed a harmonica ever since I got to see the legendary Bryan Adams in concert a year and a half ago. And it was one of those concerts where he was in way too big of an arena, so they tarped off.
Half of it.
And I'll tell you what, I got chills when he busted out that harmonica on a few of his hits.
Now, how does the harmonica attach?
That is a very good question.
Is it do you use a zip tie or something, or does it just fit in underneath that little plastic tube?
Take my headphones off to do this so I don't make a buzz for everybody again. You know what, Steve? That is a great question.
Because I probably should have looked into that to see. Oh, I see how it works. Here, let me see.
Hit me.
Because this is spring-loaded, so bam.
Oh, yep.
Harmonica sits right in there, and then this flips up
right.
to
That
face
flips all the way up, and that way all I need to worry about
I think it might actually go
is the
this.
sucks and blows.
I think it goes that way. Yeah. There you
Gotcha.
go. Oh, boy, you're
that's
set.
a lovely idea. Thank you, staff member, who was so thoughtful.
It was me!
Oh, you jokester. That is great. Thank you so much. I cannot wait to put this to use.
I'm happy that this is going to become a yearly tradition.
Oh, absolutely.
Here on the podcast.
$10.
The Secret Santa. Yeah, the $10 Secret Santa. Man, I'm looking forward to being able to move into the APS. We're going to have all of our cool stuff down there, trophies and everything.
Yeah,
I think we need to go to a
books.
secondhand store and just buy as many trophies and everything.
Absolutely.
We'll build a trophy case. We'll have the motivational, what looks like motivational sayings on the wall in fancy script.
Oh, that's happening. Because at some point you're going to have wedding planning 1.5 here with the APS when we have to start deciding on color.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's your house, obviously, and the space that's going to be in your home. So the swatches, you're going to... Hang on. Annette, was this for the APS or for the linens? I'm excited. Well, that is great. Yeah. That is awesome.
All right,
Secret
Secret Santa 1.0 in the books.
Maybe next year we'll do a Steve and Kyle podcast listener gift exchange.
Oh, that would be nice.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
We could do that.
All right.
Well, it's that time of week, Steve.
Time for the Fast Five, but it's a little different this week.
It is. So
third debate. Nope.
Oh, well, we do need a stinger. We could use a stinger.
Yeah, that I just hit the wrong one.
We could use...
Oh, no. What happened to my Fast Five intro?
Well, hang on.
Oh, there it is.
Hang on. Well, let's reset this.
Okay.
So give me a stinger first, and then we'll get to the Fast Five.
Oh, that's right. Gave you a little double.
All right, it's that time of week again, Steve. We're the Fast Five.
Fast Five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So in light of the news of your engagement from last week,
Uh-huh.
we're doing a little bit different Fast Five in that I'm going to give you 5 tips. Now, you mentioned marriage tips.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to save some of those. I wanted to start off right off the bat with wedding planning tips.
Okay.
Okay,
Now,
now you're obviously going to be hands-on on this, Steve.
Sure, and you're an old pro at this.
Listen,
done it upwards of one time.
If you're to round up, I've done one of these.
All right. Let's hear it. So
I gave this is some wedding planning tips from my experience. Okay, so my first one I have for you.
It's a little bit slower 5 this week.
Yeah, the slower Fast Five. Throw the seating chart out the window.
Really?
Now, I say that for a couple of reasons. The main one being the stress. And so my idea would be to leave, you can maybe have a seating chart for like the front 3 tables.
Okay.
Where it's your family.
Yeah.
And people you need up there, whatever. For my money, leave the rest as a free-for-all. Because it's a headache trying to fit people with other people that maybe don't know those other people.
Right.
And if you have any split family situations where you have to see...
I got that.
Right, so you have to see your dad with anything like that that can come up. if I could do it again, I would burn a seating chart. I would leave 4 tables or whatever it is up front.
Yeah.
Say these are family, and I'll assign those seats. Everything else, get what you can
I
get.
like that idea.
It's non-traditional.
I like
and
it a
I know
lot.
most
yeah.
people don't. To be fair, I don't like weddings. Like, in my experience, I prefer to know where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's always like this weird sense of, well, why the F did they sit me next to this person or these people?
Why am I with their third cousin
Right.
once removed?
Because you're going to have at least one table. You're going to be like, well, I got these people, and
Well,
they're not bringing
it's
a date.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
from
these
like
people.
the Wedding Singer, the movie. It's
Yeah.
like the mutants at table 9 or whatever, where it's like your single aunt, like
It's
like
weird.
your cousin that has 3 ears.
Yeah, it's hard to
Okay.
decide, and especially I have no idea on your wedding size, but you're always it doesn't matter. Seating chart, not seating chart, you're gonna have somebody mad.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have somebody whatever, and it's just one side of the family, or either you or Annette,
Right.
or Annette's mom, or your mom saying, "Well, I thought so and so was gonna be here. I want the
Yeah.
awful."
All right.
Second
so
one,
seating chart. No seating chart.
Nope, that's what
seating
I say.
charts are so hipster anyway.
Right? Yeah, put it on the list. The second one I have is simple enough. Make a checklist.
Okay.
And I would
that
make a
is
check-
not a problem for
I would
me.
make a checklist of everything
Yep.
because it serves 2 purposes for my taste at least. So you obviously have your major tasks that you need to do, but if you have it in a semblance of order, I need to do this, but then put small things on there too to make it still feel like you're making progress.
Yeah, like-
you're like, hey, call the DJ. I did that.
Did that.
Check mark.
So now would you call the DJ, talk to them, figure out what you needed to figure out, then go back to your list, call the DJ, and then put a check mark next to it?
I mean, what are we going to do to make your steps feel
make
like
yourself feel
like
like-
you're making
yeah.
some headway, right?
Yeah.
I didn't do that, but obviously there's websites that help with that and everything too. But I feel like organizationally, must do.
That's
right?
not a problem. I'm all about checklists and
Right.
checking things off and
Yep.
knowing what we have to do. So not a problem. All right.
Third and a biggie. Get the awkward financial conversation over with immediately.
Okay.
Now, I have no idea on your dynamics. Mother, father, in-laws paying for what, how you want to do it. My advice, it's awful to figure it out. So have the sit down or phone call as soon as you possibly can to know going in. Because if you don't know, you're in huge trouble
Yeah.
and you're going to be adjusting late in the game and you don't want to do that.
So did that happen with you? Where
We won't get into super specifics. I'll just say there were some late changes.
maybe someone that you knew? Is that what you're saying?
Somebody that is associated with me, there were some changes with less than 2 weeks to the wedding, or less than a month to the wedding, I should say, that altered the course. Not
Altered
of
the
just
plan.
the wedding. I would argue it altered the course of some relationships as well, but that's for another time and another place.
All right.
But again, whatever your dynamic is, because in a lot of cases it's, well, I want to pay for my daughter's dress, or we're going to pay for the bar, the food, or whatever. Get it done with, so you know what you're working with.
Dude, I've already I called last week as I was driving home from us deciding on the venue. I had to give my mom a call. I had to call her back about something else. So she's like, "Oh, so what else is going on?" I'm like, "Oh, we have a date and we booked a venue."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. I'm so happy. So I told her what the date was, told her about the venue. She's like, "Okay, now it is the groom's family's responsibility to pay for the rehearsal dinner. So you need to tell me where you want the rehearsal dinner to be. And I need to know because I don't live out there." So, and I'm like, are we really having this conversation?
In December.
We are 11 months out. Right. 11. I said, yeah, okay. That's all right. I'll let you know.
I'm on it.
And then because I just need, Steven, I need to know because I don't live there. And if there are going to be 50 people at this dinner, then I need to know. But if there are only going to be 20 people, I'm like, yeah, I got it. I know. Because, I mean, it could end up being a lot of money. And I'm like, stop. We're not having this conversation now.
Right.
I call. She's like, well, then why'd you call? I'm like, I don't know. I thought maybe you'd want to know the date that we decided on for our wedding. That's all. I thought that you'd appreciate hearing that.
Oh, it's like Christmas morning already, getting to hear this secondhand, Steve, because I'm so excited to be able to relive this again through you. Because, and to my parents' credit and my in-laws' credit, none of that really happened.
Yeah.
But there is so much random stress that you're going to look back on when it's over and you go, God, that's so dumb.
And that's why I just ended the conversation. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not stressing about this.
Right.
This is like, it's still so far off. And it's like, she's basically telling me that I have to tell her like the most minute detail at this point.
Right.
You don't need to know.
Well,
it's fine.
Yeah.
And I know that she cares and she wants to, because she's like, well, I want to pay for a rehearsal dinner. And I'm like, look, trust me, I appreciate that more than you will ever know. That's incredible, the generosity of that.
Right.
Thank you so much. But that doesn't mean that you get to drive me crazy about this 11 months in advance.
Yeah, well, and like you've talked about, you're not going to do it super traditional. You don't know wedding party sizes, people, who you're going to have marry you, all of this stuff that is all going to be part of said rehearsal dinner that you haven't even begun to flesh out, you know?
And then she said, well, traditionally you're supposed to invite everyone to the rehearsal dinner that travels in from out of town. I was like,
what?
Well, then we're going to have a rehearsal dinner of about 200 people.
No, you don't do really?
It's like, no, I'm sure that's like some old school thing that she's quoting from.
Right.
But like, none of my family lives here. So if any of my family comes, they're all traveling.
Yeah.
Annette's family, none of them live in this area, except her sister and brother-in-law. They live an hour and a half from here, and her parents live an hour from here. But all of her family is from like the Detroit area, Chicago, Indianapolis. So none of them are local either. So, sorry, Mom, if you're buying dinner for everybody, like we're gonna have the same group of people that are gonna be there the next day at the wedding.
Yeah, man. Okay, the next one I could have scrubbed this one. I have a possible 6 I want to talk about.
Okay.
Number 4, eat as much food as humanly possible. So let me tell you this from the upwards of one time I've done this, is your only real time you're going to eat and enjoy that food is when you go tasting. Mm-hmm. And if you do one of the big shows where they have all the food and all the, the whole everything for you to experience, right?
Wedding shows.
And then when you pick a caterer, like the caterer we went with had like a large expo thing where they had all of their food. And you just walk around and eat it. Yeah. And say, I like this, I like that. Because I ate 0 of my cupcakes at my wedding.
Oh, no.
Had 1 plate of food. Like, you don't have time. And I don't regret doing anything I did. It's just, it's so second, you're not thinking of that.
Well, it's because I would imagine that a huge part of planning your wedding is the stress over who you're going to pick for a caterer and what you're going to eat. Yeah. And then to have all of that stress and to get not even like the satisfaction of eating it all.
Yeah, because it's huge. 1, financially, it's a massive burden for food. And 2, you want good food. You don't want people going, that was whatever. You want unique ideas or whatever. So during your tastings and whatever, eat as much as they will give you.
That is not a problem.
Because you might not be able to enjoy it on your wedding day.
Question. When you went to do the food testing, did they have the cheese?
Oh, I had some cracked cheese.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah. That's why it made it. We wanted that massive platter of the crackers, the cheese. Right. I think there might have been fresh fruit. I think there may have been fruit and things like that, too. And we saw the layout was really nice because we wanted food for when people got there before dinner. We wanted the meals. Mm-hmm. And then we wanted a snack afterwards before people went home drunk. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get any of those either, which was super frustrating.
All right. Well, I may have to get the number of that caterer.
Then, And they're pretty well...
Some good cheese.
Pretty well known locally.
Real good cheese.
Finally, run everything you can think of by the DJ. They do it again.
Really? Did you have issues?
I'll tell you right now, I won't be giving you the number to the DJ.
Okay.
So... I had a blacklist, which is fine. There's songs I didn't want to hear. Anything by the Black Eyed Peas, boot it.
Like
Happy
Dance.
Yeah, I didn't want to do the Chicken Dance, booted. That was on the blacklist. Happy by Pharrell, boot it. Got all those out of there, right? So the music wasn't a huge concern until I heard like Shania Twain at 9:30 randomly. And then I hear my dad come up to me and he goes, yeah, I asked her to play the Zac Brown Band. We love the Zac Brown Band. Yeah. I asked her to play the Zac Brown Band song. She said, yeah, okay. And then like turned around and never heard it. Huh. So, it shouldn't be on me at 9:30 on my wedding night, which I did though, because I was furious at that point. Said, hey, anybody wearing an outfit that looks like this, that asks you to play a song,
whatever the F they
you
want.
play it. You're not here to play your mixtape.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. You have your list and your top 40, whatever. Go ahead and play those. But if anybody from the bridal party or my father has a song request, you're going to play that, and you're going to play it probably next. I actually won't be mad if you interrupt what's playing now to play that.
And if that's not enough, you'll play it again right after
You're
you play
darn
it.
right. And if we liked it once, I'm going to like it twice.
Yeah, I want you to fade out of that song while you're fading that song back in.
Yeah, I told them that. We had a sit-down meeting with them beforehand where I gave them the songs I didn't want to hear and the vibe of what I did want to hear, because I wanted to meet with them because I have a weird musical taste. I know a lot of people say that, but I wanted Zach Brown Band, Bruce Springsteen, Bryan Adams.
Those are like your cornerstones.
Yeah.
The cornerstones of your wedding soundtrack.
And so I told them also that night, I said, listen, this is going to sound weird, and I get it. I want to hear Shout by the Isley Brothers twice. And I got it.
All right.
But that's part of the reason that bummed me out about that. But another reason was my brother Robert, who was my best man. So they introduced everybody coming in. And we went through everything, you know, who's with who, list the partners that you can announce them coming in. So when she announced my brother Chris Paffhausen to everybody in the room as the best man, I didn't hear it. I'm last to come in, you know, so I'm outside. I hear about the second hand. I could have blown a gasket. Chris Paffhausen, my brother Robert. Would have taken Rob.
Yeah.
Would have taken Bob.
Robbie.
Bobby. Don't care. Any incarnation of Robert or Bob was fine, not Chris. There was a Chris in the wedding party. He got called Chris. He didn't get called Robert. You know how I know this? Because I went through every frickin' pairing with the lady. So that was an issue. I also had, you know, we had our first dance. We paid hundreds of dollars for our dance lessons for our first dance. And I didn't know what was happening, because the song started playing while I was sitting at the head table.
I do remember that.
Oh, I was not happy.
I remember that.
Because we had the timing all fleshed out with the song, because we paid for it at the lessons and everything. So the song starts playing. I'm already mad by the time I even make it to the dance floor.
Because now you got to try and jump ahead.
Yeah, and it was, I was so mad. I didn't know we were cutting cake. Had to run over to get cut. My mom didn't know, so they had to rush over.
Well, what does she care? I mean, come on.
It was, the DJ really tried to ruin my night, Steve, in hindsight. So run everything you can think. And if you think it's dumb, just go up and say, hey, you remember when I told you, you know, so-and-so, this is how you say their name or whatever, right? Yeah.
You remember when I told you that you pronounce Robert, Robert?
I feel so bad about it.
Not Chris?
You know, I feel terrible, because a lot of people there, I would argue most people there knew who my brother was or knew my brother.
And like in my case, I was there. I didn't even hear that.
Right.
And if I did, it obviously
it didn't register.
Yeah, it hasn't stood out in my mind for the last year and a half.
My brother and I are only 2.5 years apart. We share some similar friends, and I'm lucky enough to have a group of friends that can spend time with my brother and, you know, at outings or events or whatever, and we're all friends. Like, they'll talk. And me the same. I have friends that he grew up with that I know and talk with. And so a lot of people there knew Robert. So to have him called Chris, pretty big oversight.
A little bit. I mean, it is his name. Right. You know, his identity. It's crazy, because with your name, you think that if they were going to butcher something,
it'd be the last name.
It would be your last name.
And I went over it like 6 times. We see, you know, it's one of those weird Paffhausen, like to get it right, like, you know, emphasis here, and because you'll get it Paffhausen, you know, different, really Nazi-ish pronunciations.
I get McKernan.
Oh, and I get it. Listen, I get it. So that's why I'm glad we ironed this out, you know, before. I'm glad you get the last name down, but you wrote Chris in the wrong spot twice. Jerks. So I will not give you my DJ's number, but for a stupendous 6, Steve, I did want to mention, if at all possible, open bar.
Oh yeah,
because
that is that's priority,
right? And I only say that, and not saying like, oh, people will stay longer. People they're going to inevitably have a better time, it seems, because they're not worried about that anymore. But again, that's one of the massive financial undertakings.
I don't think that was such a big deal probably 10 or 15 years ago, but we've basically turned into a cashless society,
it's
at
weird.
least with like people my age, and you know, in this, like, in our generation,
Sure.
we're kind of a cashless society. I never have cash on me. And if I'm ever at a cash bar, or even at an open bar, you still want to, like, you know, throw a buck in the
It's weird.
in the cup. But when it's just really weird when you feel terrible when you don't have it.
Right. I ran into it this year when you were a guest bartender at Pulaski Days.
Oh, that's right.
And I didn't realize it was cash only, so I was scrambling to an ATM. It's different, and even if it's just beer and wine, I mean, I think it puts a lot of people at ease. They're like, oh, what, you know, they don't have to worry about it anymore.
Right.
Also, one of the best things we decided was a zero-child reception.
Oh, okay.
But
I think
it's hard to do when you got people traveling.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't say, well, I'm from New Jersey. How's your babysitting looking? You know?
Just leave it. Yeah, because I have too many nephews,
Right.
and
That's a different dynamic.
And a niece, and so that I think it'll be. I would say it'll probably be pretty limited.
Right. I
And
only say
by
that just because
limited,
of the way
I mean like my family, Annette's family.
Yeah, the
like,
very close ones.
Family members, yes, but I don't foresee, you know, opening up the floodgates for 1 million kids.
Right, yeah. We had somebody, I'm not going to name names, say, oh, well, I thought, you know, he's 16. I thought I could bring him as...
Oh, they just brought them?
No, well, wanted to.
Oh, okay.
Like, found out in advance, like, no, that's still, you know, can they drink? No. Okay, then they shouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not the way we're doing this. So
yeah, I think our invitations will be very specific, saying
and
so-and-so and guest.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah.
Very important. Well, that's all I got for you, Steve. I'm sure this is obviously going to be a recurring theme over the next 11 months. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
This is great
Yeah,
news.
it's going to be fun. The Steve and Kyle podcast family is growing. Boy, are we. It's going to be fun.
That was great.
Yeah, I'd imagine we'll talk about, like you said, quite a bit. So I guess that's going to wrap it up for this week. Should we talk about how we're doing next week's episode?
Yeah, we might as well acknowledge it. It's going to be easier this way. There will be an episode next week, and fingers crossed maybe the next week. But next week's for sure will be airing. We're just recording it in advance. So
we're
not going
recording
to
it on
play and act like it's the normal time and date. We're going to record it later this week. We're going to release it at the normal time next week. So there's still an episode for the holidays. If you're traveling with your family, you know, and we're trying to keep... One thing we talked about after taking a 6-week break was regularity. So we want some content, and we want to be talking here every week. One, because I enjoy it.
Yeah. So I would think that, next week, regular episode. Following week, hoping for regular episode, hoping for some kind of content.
Yes.
Whether it's
It will not
maybe
be a regular episode, but we think
Maybe-
we have something special and funny in store if we can pull this off for 2 weeks.
But if that doesn't work, well, maybe we can record another
one.
video or something from down in the APS.
Right. Yep. Something
And
should be
we'll
there.
just post date it a couple of days, release it next week. But yeah, thank you for listening. As always, please review the show or subscribe if you haven't done that yet. You can do it in iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, and on Libsyn, StephenKyle.libsyn.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Facebook.com/StephenKyle. Also on Twitter at StephenKyle. And from there, you can follow Kyle and I individually on Twitter as well. So that's about it. We will talk to you next week, and have a fantastic week.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Double whammy.
This winter, raise a glass to quiet luxury with elevated looks from Ashley. During the New Year's Toast to Style sale, discover timeless pieces starting at $10 per month to make 2025 your most stylish year yet. Shop now and pay later with 0% interest until January 2030. Introducing Nectar mattresses starting at $6.99. Unbox the best sleep of your life with advanced pressure relief and all-night comfort. Shop more New Year's deals at your local Ashley in Grand Rapids, Granville, and Kalamazoo.
For 100 years, Berger Chevrolet has been rooted in Grand Rapids, serving West Michigan's automotive needs. From vehicle sales and service to parts and collision, the team at Berger Chevrolet is here for you. When you're ready to buy your next vehicle, come to Berger and find out why Chevrolet is West Michigan's top-selling brand. Since 1925, Berger Chevrolet has been your West Michigan Chevy dealer. Visit us in Grand Rapids at the corner of 28th Street and Breton Road, or start shopping online at bergerchevy.com. It's always better at Berger.
Now is the time to make sure your labor law posters are compliant and stay compliant with new paid leave and minimum wage changes coming. Let the Michigan Chamber help. Our affordable, high quality, and up-to-date posters are easy to read and include a 12-month subscription. We track changes in real time and send free custom fit stickers or new posters as needed. Available in English, Spanish, and in digital formats for hybrid or remote employees. Learn more and order today at michamber.com/posters.